it's Red Snapper, and welcome to the Showgirl's Closet. Nutmeg is here modeling something that we're going to talk about today, which is fabric from Hawaii. Mr. Snapper and I did a family trip to Oahu in August of 2023, and of course, we bought a ton of fabric. I knew that I would be making garments based on what we got there, and I planned ahead. I made a list. I need to get this much fabric of these many things. I had special packing cubes in my suitcase so that I could roll all of the fabric up and bring it home and not be over limit. So I planned this well in advance, very, very smartly. If you are going from the States or anywhere around the world to Hawaii, I highly recommend packing cubes so that you know what you can fit in your suitcase. And I also recommend going to the Hawaii Fabric Mart. This video is not sponsored by Hawaii Fabric Mart, but they have such fantastic deals on fabric. If you are a sewist, you will want to stop by. If you are an aloha enthusiast, a tropical or tiki fan, you will want to stop by because the prices are really great and you can create your own outfits and you can do matchy-matchy stuff with whatever you get there. Nutmeg was wearing her matchy-matchy dress that I made for her from this fabric. I'll show you the shirt I made for Mr. Snapper first because you can see the fabric a bit more. It's a very big print and nothing has been pressed because I am lazy, but really big, bold print, and they have a ton of prints. You can order things online and have them delivered to you. Shipping is a bit much just because it's being sent a long way, but it's fine. It's standard postal rates. I got, I believe, 8 yards of fabric, and I was going to try to match this very big pattern, have the pockets lie perfectly and match everything just right. It would take too much fabric to get to the perfect spot to get the exact pattern for the pocket. I gave that up and I had to order an extra yard of fabric to make up for part of what I was doing, trying to find the exact right spot with the fabric. This shirt, this little shirt pattern, I think it is about 2.5 yards to make this kind of shirt. And I've made several shirts like this for Mr. Snapper. In future episodes, you'll see some of the other things that I've made, and you'll see that I've done like this same pattern. I took a class through Craftsy maybe 10 or more years ago that taught me some professional sewing techniques, some industrial techniques like doing top stitching. Top stitching galore. So all of these shirts that I've made for him have really nice top stitching. When they're pressed, they look pretty professional. And I purchased coconut buttons while I was there, which were pretty expensive. I think it was 10 buttons for $1. I got plenty of coconut buttons. And when I had to order more fabric, I ordered more buttons. For top stitching, I will give you a little note. You want to find a color that looks good with the fabric. It could match the fabric. It could be a color that you pull from the pattern, which there's a lot of orange on here. I opted to go with orange, and orange is complementary to blue. Just a little side note, if you decide, ooh, I want to do some top stitching, that's the way to pick the color. And you make the stitches a little bit longer. Anyway, it's a great shirt, nice shirt. He can be matchy-matchy with me in this shirt, and this took about 2.5 yards of fabric. Worth keeping in mind if you are making a shirt this size, a camp shirt, an aloha shirt, you'll need 2.5 or more yards of fabric. This is a harness dress that I made for her. Yes, I love you. Chowdy wants to be in it. With a little ring. I ordered this pattern from Etsy. It was like maybe a $5 pattern for a dress. Here's Nutmeg. And I've made her several of these dresses. They close on the front. She wants to be free. There are 3 rows of ruffles And this takes about a yard of fabric, maybe a little bit less, but it's lined with the same fabric on the inside. So it takes roughly a yard. The inside doesn't have to be going in the same direction as the outside. But to make a dog dress, about a yard. If I made a shirt for Chowder to match, it would take, I would say, 3/4 of a yard, since he's kind of long. And I'd want to have enough to do the sleeves and the collar, and to be very smart about it. I matched this up okay on the back. There's not a perfectly symmetrical part of any of this fabric where you could fold it up and have a mirror image. But I feel like this is matched up pretty nicely. So I can match a small strip like this, but matching pockets, especially on the jumpsuit I made, matching those big pockets, that takes a lot of fabric. And that's worth keeping in mind if you're purchasing fabric. If you want the patterns to match, you're going to have to spend more money and buy more fabric. Jumpsuit time. This was the second time I made this jumpsuit pattern. The first time was for the matchy-matchy outfit that I made for Nutmeg's debut on the burlesque stage at Viva's Lounge. But I made that with shorter sleeves because I just needed shorter sleeves to deal with her. I get very hot on stage. I've got the top stitching again. I liked this particular jumpsuit pattern with the flap pockets, but the flaps want to come up, so I have snaps on here. Snaps on flaps, so they sit down, otherwise these would curl up. And I know this from experience because I have another jumpsuit, the same thing, they curl up. No matter how amazing and stiff the interfacing may be, they still curl up. Top stitching galore. Zipper in the front. Here's the coolest thing to me about this particular jumpsuit pattern. Here are the belt loops, which I can open up because this is a functioning button, a coconut button, and nice big pockets. There's also, oh wait, this is my favorite, a little leg pocket. This is part of the pattern, the sewing pattern, adding a little leg pocket. So I mean, what are you going to put in there? Does it matter? It's just cool. It's cool to have. And here's the back. It looks kind of like pajamas from the back. But it's pretty comfortable. And this belt just goes. I bought this belt off of Amazon. It's inexpensive. It is pleather and it works well enough. The braided belt, I think, goes well with this fabric and with the coconut buttons. I can also reuse it for other jumpsuits because I have another one that I will show you in a later episode where this belt also goes nicely. This is from a Simplicity pattern, which is pretty easy to follow, but read all of the instructions first because if you don't, you may wind up putting these pockets and the belt loops just a little bit too high. Let's try it on. Ta-da! I love these jumpsuit patterns. I just love them. I think they're great. Now, I've talked in a couple of episodes about being able to navigate your way out of clothes to go to the bathroom because let's be honest, we live in a world where we still have to go to the bathroom. It just makes sense. It's a practical point. I'm very practical with things. When I take this off, I have to go one sleeve at a time. I can't just shrug it off my shoulders because the zipper doesn't go that far. It goes to here, I think. Yeah, it goes to here. So it doesn't zip like all the way up in the back where I can just peel it away. So something worth knowing about wearing jumpsuits is keep in mind that you will be peeling them back before using a public restroom, and you'll need to hold up and manage the fabric so that you don't get any public restroom floor, any contact with your jumpsuit. You don't want anything to contact your jumpsuit. Okay, but it's very comfortable. This is a cotton, I think, or it might be a cotton blend fabric. So I washed it first and I dried it before I cut the fabric so that any shrinking was already done. Got my little pockets here. I love the pockets. It's a crazy bold pattern, but I love the fabric. I just love the fabric pattern. Very comfortable. This very 1970s look with this collar. But come on, I'm a child of the 70s. I love it. Backside. Comfy. And this pattern is made for a taller person. It has extensions on the legs that you can add on in order to have the full length, but I wind up cutting a few inches off before I hem them. Worth keeping in mind that it's designed for somebody who is of average height, whatever that means, 5'7", 5'9", 6 feet, who knows. Very long area for hemming, and you may have to trim if you are not tall like me at all of 5'3", almost 5'4". This was the first project of all of the Hawaii fabric that we purchased. About 8 yards total. A jumpsuit like this takes 3.5 to 4 yards. The baggier something is, the more pieces you have to cut. If there are pleats, if there are ruffles, if you're trying to match patterns, if you've got gigantic pockets like this that are lined on the inside with the same fabric, it's going to take more. It will take more fabric. Read your patterns before you go shopping. But if you wanted to make outfits for 2 humans, a shirt for a human, a jumpsuit for a human, and a dress for 1 dog, about 8 yards of fabric should do the trick. You can always get more. It's okay to have extra. You can make a little memory quilt of whatever's left over, or placemats, or you might wind up getting a little boy dog and have enough scraps to make a whole shirt for him. Whatever. But I love it. It's super fun and very much worth picking up fabric when you are in Hawaii if you visit, or ordering some online. That is all I have for you today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, boop that bell for notifications, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. Have you gone to Oahu and hit up Hawaii Fabric Mart? Have you ordered from Hawaii Fabric Mart? What did you make? Do you have another amazing resource for getting tropical print fabrics that are bold and wild? Do you have a jumpsuit pattern you'd like to recommend, or a dog dress pattern? That could be fun. What do you think, Nutmeg? She's in here having fun, getting tangled in cords and avoiding chowder for a moment. I'd love to hear from you in those comments though. Do you think Nutmeg is super cute? Obviously, yes, she is. Also, I do have a Patreon if you would like to support Red Snapper Burlesque. See more of Red Snapper doing ridiculous, semi-naked, naked things. It is patreon.com/snapperama. You can support us there. If you would like to support the channel financially, but not see any of that, all that extra snapper, all of the pale snapper, I have a level. It's $5. I'm just here for the dog. If you choose to subscribe at that level, you will see no posts there, and you will still be helping the channel and helping me do ridiculous things like buy 8 yards of this crazy print fabric with volcanoes all over it. I love it, and so many coconut buttons. And you will see me next time. Aloha.